Today we've got a very special guest right here on the show. We've got Lauren Wakfer from the West Coast Eagles AFLW side. Lauren, thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks so much for having me.
No worries. Now, your journey started all the way back in South Freo, but the draft night was one of the probably and a big shock for your families of your sister Zoe being drafted unexpectedly, as what it was quoted back then. How was draft night for you that night?
Yeah, honestly, pretty hectic night. I was lucky enough to get flown to Melbourne. Unfortunately, it was a week after my ACL surgery, so a lot going on at that point. So yeah, my draft night was spent on crutches, unfortunately, with a knee brace under my pants, which you can't see. And then obviously Zoe got drafted as well, which was a pretty crazy ride considering she came as my guest. She put her name in the draft, but she didn't expect to get picked up, especially round one as well. I think Eagles mentioned to her, like, oh, if you put your name in for the draft, like, you could get picked up as a train on if you don't get drafted, blah, blah, blah. So she put her name in. And then Eagles picked her up early. And yeah, I don't think anyone was ready for it, to be honest. So, no, crazy night.
Sure. Now, obviously, you mentioned about having the ACL not too long before the draft, Lauren. Did that ever affect you going to the draft thinking, damn, this might affect my chances at all? Or was the indication from West Coast or anyone that, no matter what the injury, it would still be a good chance?
Yeah, there was definitely a bit of uncertainty from my end. Obviously, I had come off the back of what I had a really good year. Just came back from playing for the National Academy team. And then, yeah, it was the second last waffle game of the season, unfortunately. First quarter, I took a hit to the knee. And then, yeah, once we found out that I'd done it, like, I still wasn't fully aware of what an ACL injury was at this point because I was still so young, still very new to football. So didn't know how long of a process it was going to take and how long the journey would be. But I did have an interview with Eagles before the injury, and then thankfully our recruitment team kind of kept calling to make sure I was okay and just kept reassuring me that it wasn't going to change their decision or change their mind or anything like that. I was still in contact with freo at this time as well, so there was still a bit up in the air about whether I would go early or if I was going to get picked up at all, considering I'd be injured for the year. But just super lucky and super grateful that the Eagles kept reassuring me that it wasn't going to change their decision on me. I thought maybe that meant I would go a little bit later in the draft. Still not sure, obviously, where I was going to go pre-injury anyways. But, just amazing support from the Eagles before I even got drafted, and was super lucky that they picked me up.
Was that like them reassuring you that, was it some form of, obviously never good doing an ACL, obviously, but some silver lining in that you had the injury, but they reassured you beforehand that, that shouldn't affect it?
Yeah, definitely. It was, still like a very scary kind of time, but definitely. Like, I don't think I would have got through as well as I did without the support from the Eagles.
So obviously representing WA in the state championships, you were a late starter to footy, if I'm correct in saying, and you represented under 18s for WA in 21 and 22. How was that? Because going from reports, you had a pretty decent championships.
Yeah, I was still pretty new to footy. I'd only played 2 years at junior level, and really doing it for fun anyways. I originally started because the first team I played for, Safety Bay, didn't have enough girls to field a side, so down there and checked it out and ended up playing the season. And then unfortunately we won the grand final that year, but unfortunately the year after that they didn't have enough girls again to field a side, so I had to move clubs. But yeah, I got picked up pretty early, so I went into the state originally as a bottom major, and was lucky enough to experience all of it with the older girls and kind of get a sense for what state was, which was really cool. And then obviously watching a lot of those girls get drafted at the end of that year to then be followed up next year as a top ager, I guess, in the state.
Yeah.
But super cool experience. And then obviously get drafted with a bunch of those girls too.
Then we lead into, as you mentioned, being picked up by the Eagles. Your sister Zoe's joining the club. How was the first day going into the club? And was it a little bit more easier than what you may have expected with your sister joining you at the same time?
Oh, definitely. I get very nervous in those sort of situations. So, but that I had someone next to me that I already knew. We were both kind of in the same boat. I had friends from state there anyways, which thank God, because I don't know how well I would have coped otherwise. But obviously Zoe and I had a very different experience because she got to go out straight on the track and I had to meet the physio straight away. So definitely a different experience, but yeah, a lot more at ease and a lot more comfortable with someone I knew beside me in the boat.
That's right. And who's taking you under? Because you're only 20 years of age at the moment, playing just over 20 games. So who are some players that kind of you've leaned on in your 3 years at the club, and who's someone you kind of you're taking you under your wing?
Yeah, it definitely changes a lot, I think, throughout the season, especially. For me, our captain, Swanee, she doesn't live too far away from me either, thankfully. But obviously, like one of the hardest working people at the club, Bella Lewis as well, just like insane work ethic. So I think I lent on them a lot, and especially in rehab, for me, it was Kelly Gibson and Sinead Davis, because that's who I was spending all my time with the first year. But no, definitely all the leaders at the club for me have just been such, like, I've been able to rely on them so much. And then obviously eventually as I got used to the club a bit more, Abigail Bushby and Emily Elkington got really close with them, and they're my best friends now. So go to them about anything. So yeah, it definitely chops and changes a lot throughout the season, throughout the years, but we have such a young group now as well that we kind of all lean on each other and all rely on each other.
Good. And your debut announcement video, obviously you remember very well with the physio crew, and a bit of a poem. How was that? And did you have that indication that that debut was coming, considering who was announcing it and what you'd been through the rehab group?
Yeah, I had no idea at first. It was a bit weird because when my physio Chinny got up in front of everyone, I was kind of like, oh, like he doesn't normally do the speaking in front of everybody. This is a bit weird.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I'd only just completed my tests to kind of be ticked off to play round one. But then obviously I still had to get selected for it. So I didn't have my hopes up just yet, considering, like, you know, I just spent a year on the sidelines, didn't know if they were going to be prepared to run me out round one. But yeah, as soon as Chitty got up there, I was kind of a bit like, oh, this is really weird. Like, why is he standing up there? And then as soon as he started talking, I think I just started crying because I realized what was about to happen. And yeah, I had all my best mates around me anyway. So it was a wicked experience. I think I blacked out for a little bit of it because I was like, what is going on? I was just in shock. But no, I genuinely, I don't think I could have asked for a better way to debut. So just an amazing experience.
For sure. And then obviously playing 21 games so far in your career, I believe all 21 in a row since your debut game to now. Does it give you a bit more confidence, you know, not being one of those players that's, you know, it's floated sort of in and out, and where you got a good continuity of playing games and trust with obviously Daisy Pearce, which we'll get to shortly, this year as well, along with previous coach Michael Pryor, to get a game every week and do well?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially learning a new role this year, you know, that was a bit of a challenge for me, but super lucky that the coaches backed me in every week to play the game, and I'm so grateful that, you know, I haven't missed a game since injury. But yeah, I love being relied on to play those roles and being trusted to play those roles, especially flicking through this year forward ruck a little bit and, you know, getting played that I wouldn't necessarily play in. I thrive off that. I love doing that. So yeah, amazing. And I'm super grateful.
Yeah, and a lot of people, we talked to a lot of people about versatility and being Lauren so important these days. As you mentioned, playing in the ruck and playing up forward. It's kind of a good thing to have to everyone's game, because, you know, if you play one position, you're not going so well and there's someone that's going to take your spot, you might not find yourself back in it, or it might take a while. Whereas in your case, and like a lot of other people, versatility, you can stay in it through a different few roles.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really big thing for us, especially this year. I think Daisy was really good in that area of like trying to teach everyone at least a couple of roles each to rotate through and really push for that versatility in our team. And we're really lucky that we do have the players to be able to do that. And we, again, with a really young list, everyone's still developing really well. So we're really lucky that Daisy pushed us in that area to kind of rotate the versatility for us. But lucky that I guess I'm tall too, which kind of helps me out a bit. But yes. I've played ruck most of my life, and obviously AFLW level, it's a bit different. I'm a bit small now compared to back in Waffle. So I swing through the second ruck role a little bit more, but yeah, super versatility side of it and being able to swing through the forward.
Sure. What role would you, if you ideally could pick, Lauren, which role would you prefer to play?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I love I love playing the ruck, so I would go the ruck, but for the sake of the team, I'll stick it a forward for now, I think.
Sure. Now, you have got one goal in your career thus far. Do you recall it, and how was it?
I do. I keep telling everyone it doesn't count because it was off the back of Ella Roberts' hard work, and I basically just took her free in the goal square.
Oh, yeah.
But talking about it the whole season, obviously playing a key forward role, how I hadn't kicked a goal yet. We kept joking about it. And then all the girls were like, oh, let's do this celebration. Like, let's talk about celebrations. And then
Yeah.
I had the ball in my hand, and I was so worried about the goal that everything else, like, just left my head, and I kicked the goal, and I was just like, hey, like, good work. And all the girls in the balcony down to me. So I'll count it, but it's off the back of Ella's hard work. So I'll give it to her, I reckon.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get them as long as you get them on, all right. But now you mentioned Ella and we'll mention Charlie Thomas, both just today, as of about 20 minutes ago, been announced in the All-Australian squad. And to be honest, if you're not going to say it, I will. They definitely should be in the final team. I was proud of how those two have gone this year in particular.
Yeah, amazing. They're two very key players for us at the Eagles, and such reliable players and trustworthy players. I know if the ball goes down the back line, Charlie will be there, and the ball in the midfield, Ella's onto it. So you just can't stop them. They're two of our best players on the team, and just such reliable players, and yeah, amazing footballers.
For sure. And you're talking about versatility. I spoke to Ella about a month or so ago at one of the games doing one of these videos, and she talked about playing versatile. I said, what role do you prefer to play? And she said she loves that split. If she's gassed, she can go up forward and then play through the midfield. And then we just talk about versatility. It's so important and so versatile as well.
Definitely. She's one of the best at it, I think. She is a fielder, and she's, gets tagged some weeks and acts like it's not even a tag. She just runs amok in that midfield and then floating back into the forward line. She's so good overhead and just has such an amazing goal that she's so hard to stop. So, yeah.
For sure. She's very humble when talking about herself, I've noticed. And, you have some talent where you're having, you don't fluke having quarters where you're having like 13 disposals. I know there was a game this year, I can't remember what game it was, had like 13 disposals, kicked a goal, like 6 marks, 5 tackles. Just insane.
Like, incredible. Like, I still look back at that and go just like, how do you do it? Teach me, please.
Now, we mentioned Daisy Pearce. When that announcement came, how did you find out before it was public? How did that all go for you? And how did you react to it?
Yeah, that was a tricky one. So we'd actually seen her at the airport after the W Awards, and we were making jokes about it. Like, oh, going to be our coach. Daisy's going to be our coach. But obviously, we kept getting reassured, like, they're still interviewing people, like, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, she got announced. And at the time, she actually wasn't on her way to Perth for a meeting. She was on her way to Perth to catch up with one of her sisters. So she hadn't heard about the Eagles role yet either. I don't think she'd even applied for it at that point. We were just making jokes about it. But no, obviously the appointment of her, like, she's just got such a different vibe about her, and she's just amazing. And I think it really helps having a past AFLW player in that coaching for us, because she knows what to expect and she understands the game really well. So, yeah, just an incredible pickup.
For sure. I mean, I remember when I was at a club best and fairest with one of my friends, and Daisy was actually meant to be at that club's best and fairest, and they said she was a late pull out, and I thought, it was matching around the time where this announcement was coming. I thought this is what it could be, and then how you described it seemed to be perfect to how it went.
Definitely, yeah, definitely sounds like the way to go.
For sure. Now, there's going to be a lot of teammate questions throughout this chat here, Lauren. First one I'm going to mention, and it's a question I've kind of thought of recently. I thought I'd ask this to you first. If you were to name yourself and 3 teammates, Lauren, to form a rock/music band, who would be a part of that band, and what would the band be called?
Oh, a rock band. All right, I'm going to have to go with Dreno, because she's an incredible singer, if nobody knew that. Amazing singer, so I'm going to get her. I'm going to bring Bushy along the vibe, I think. I think even if it didn't sound good, everyone would laugh at her and have a good time. Another one. Who's one more? Who's one more? This is a hard one. But you know what? Well, just because I know we'd have fun. Even if the crowd hated it, I think we'd all have fun on the stage. So I'll go with that one. A name for the band. Oh, that's a hard one.
I know. Very.
Jono always sings, when we talk about singing, always goes for the American national anthem. So I think it'd be something like Real American.
So what was that name? Did it just cut out then? What was the name, did you say?
We'll go the Real Americans or something. I reckon that'd be funny.
Hmm,
I reckon.
interesting. There we go. That might be a new thing. So the names you just mentioned, that could be a new thing. All right, we'll see that eventuates over time. Now, speaking of teammates, you just mentioned singing. Who's someone that's got some hidden talents that people may not know about? This could be about yourself or just anyone in general. Who's got something that they don't want to kind of make public, or they make it known to be public for something they love or being good at, besides footy, of course.
Hosco is a really good guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
And plays the flute through her nose. So
Yes.
that's a
Yep.
big one. That especially on camp, we were just sitting underneath one of the houses one day, and she was up the top playing the guitar with one of the staff members singing along, and it was just magical to listen. So she's very good on the instruments. Hosco is.
Yeah, I remember I was actually watching that Waffle being Waffle W best and fairest or league best and fairest last year, and she's actually done it there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she whipped it out to us, I think a couple of days before that, and then we saw her whip it out. And, funny old.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, which teammates love the limelight, the attention, the camera at the Eagles, and they can't get enough, and they know what to do when cameras are around?
Oh, I'm gonna say Bushy again. I reckon, just because she's real funny in front of the camera and just a little act. It's very funny. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'd always tell people it's not a bad thing to love the attention or camera.
No, not at all. She doesn't do it in a look at me way. She's just very funny.
Yeah. No, it's very good. Who would be the teammate or teammates that would watch your own highlights and Google themselves?
Oh, Google themselves. I could say Ella. Maybe Georgie. Georgie might do that too, I reckon. Those two.
I mean, if you like Ella and you're so good, and if you like Georgie, you play multiple sports, I mean, there's going to be lots of highlights around.
Exactly. You'll never have an old video. You'll just keep having new ones come up.
That's right. They talk about trying to clip, highlight reels and put them to as small as possible. Or you might find it very hard for both those girls to make it as short as possible without including some of the best moments.
I think you'll have an hour's worth at least of footage for both of those girls.
It would absolutely go a fair way. Now, going back on the teammate side of things, okay, no, sorry. If you were to say your toughest opponent, Lauren, who's been your toughest opponent in the AFLW throughout your whole 21 games so far?
I'm going to say Mim Strom for me. We're friends off the field as well, but she's such an amazing footballer. She's tall, she's strong, she's agile, she's just amazing. And obviously on the weekend just broke the records for most hit outs in a game. Insane. Kicked a goal out of the ruck. Just insane. Like, I get nervous playing against her. And that's fair. She's just an amazing footballer. So I'll definitely, I reckon.
For sure. I mean, she's just having an insane season, Lauren. And you talk about breaking records and everything like that. She just seems to be doing it every week. I'm pretty sure she broke it a few weeks ago and then did it again on the weekend. So it's just amazing how she's going right now. Will be obviously the lock for the ruck in the All-Australian team. Who's some teammates you're kind of impressed by, Lauren? They kind of fly under the radar a little bit and don't get talked about as much as they should, publicly at least.
Oh, I'm going to go Courtney Rowley. Go Abigail Bushby. And I'm going to go Jade's had quite a good season too, Jade Britton. I think she very selfless in the way she plays her football. So I'm going to say Jade as well.
Sure, some very good options there. Now, overall, Loz, in the season so far, or not so far, for the whole season how it's panned out, how would you overall assess your individual performance and the team's performance this year?
Yeah, I think individually still a lot of growth and a lot of work to do. It's only really my second season playing footy at this level. So just learning the role, learning the craft really well this off season, and coming into pre-season will be a really big focus for me. And as far as the team, like, we've already impressed so much more this season than our seasons in the past. First back-to-back win, first four wins is a new record for us. One of our new highest scores we've ever kicked. And I think we're just really well towards building something really good for our future. And obviously with such a young list, we're able to, kind of build it together and be with each other for a really long time. So I think it's our most successful season yet as a team, and yeah, I can't wait to see where we go with this club.
Sure. You must have loved those, well, in theory, maybe not physically, but from a results point of view, those Melbourne trips, we had those 2 or 3 games within a week or something, and winning those 2 games, I'm correct in saying, I think, on those Melbourne trips or Vic trips.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird one for us. We stayed in Melbourne for the week to play those 2 games with Doggies and Collingwood.
Yep.
A week for us. We said let's do it again and put them all as night games, because I don't think we lost a night game this year. So we said let's do it again and let's make it all night games just to keep that kind of rolling. But no, I think those 2 games as a team were probably the best we've played together. Gelling so well, our confidence was high, and obviously we were with each other for the week anyways, no escaping each other. But yeah, it was definitely a different one for that condensed fixture. No one's obviously done that before, so bit of a weird one. But yeah, it was definitely fun for us as a whole, I reckon.
That's right. Since we're on the topic of the fixture, how did you girls all manage that time frame? Obviously, some players get managed from games, managed in games, through training sessions, if there was even any. How did you try and push through that time period? And you talk about physio and everything like that. How was that week in terms of training and everything like that, and conditioning yourselves?
Yeah, it was definitely different. I don't think it could really, like, anything could really prepare you for it until you're in that situation. I think we are really good at knowing when we need to spend time away from each other, so we're not always at each other 24/7. But so we're each other's best friends, basically. So when the coaches would say go and have time away from here, we'd all be going in big groups, doing activities together, that sort of stuff anyways. So we're really lucky to have such a really strong connection off the field. And for us, we almost use that as an excuse to get to know each other more and like really build that connection off the field. So we just made the most of it. We always had physios and doctors and everything available to us for that whole week. We had slightly different training sessions. Some of them were a little bit lighter. Some of the girls were kind of a bit, which was probably a bit tricky, and that was probably the trickiest of the season. But yeah, I think overall our club nailed it, and I think we'd be prepared to do that one again.
I feel like, obviously you only just missed out on finals. Obviously that last game at the Swans would have been disappointing, no doubt, considering how they'd panned out this year as well compared to previous years for them. Do you get some confidence ahead of this year as a whole that you only just missed out on finals when no one really expected you to be that close, at least from a public point of view, to give you that confidence going into next year and potentially bringing another 1 or 2 players through the trade and draft period, and catapult even further higher up the ladder?
Yeah, I think especially with Daisy now, we have a very strong game plan and we're working towards what we want to do. And we knew that it would take more than 1 season to do it. I think also, gave that season like a really good shot and kind of showed people what we want to do and how we want to do it. And although obviously didn't go our way, there's definitely times in that game where we can sit back and say, like, that's exactly what we want to do and that's exactly what we want to aim for. So like this season, obviously, again, already a record-breaking season for us. So that'll definitely give us confidence going into next season. And obviously we'll get some new who are also incredible footballers from the draft, to kind of and really like knuckle in on our game plan and work for each other. But I think, I can't wait for next season, because if this is what we've done this season, it's only been 1 year under Daisy, then I can't wait for the.
Are you one outside of footy, so in kind of this period now between the trade and draft periods and the final series, are you one still to keep track of the games and hear any murmurs about who may be coming to the club and who may not be?
I definitely do a little bit. I try to get away from all that sort of stuff, but I do the reports of the AFL women and all that posts about those who do have contracts, don't have contracts, possible movement. I think a lot would probably say that they also do that. And sometimes they also like kind of guess with the girls, like, oh, who are we going to get? Or are we going to get anyone? And what? So it's definitely, I definitely follow it a little bit. I don't follow it too much, so I don't get wrapped in it too much. But I definitely keep updated sometimes.
For sure. I mean, with what I do, I kind of have to. But I love the trade period sometimes more than the seasons. To be honest, it's just so exciting to see who's going to go, who you may have talked to in the past, that may be going to another club and everything like that. And one late last week, again, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's murmured a little bit that at least your club is looking at a former skipper from the Bulldogs, Ellie Blackburn. Gee, that'd be nice to add to the midfield you already got.
Wow, that could be a big change. I'm not sure how that one would play out, but that could be a really for both teams, I reckon. So who knows?
Absolutely, that could be an absolute massive move if that does end up happening. Now, what nicknames, Lauren, do you get at the club that you like or dislike?
I get Whack. That's my main one, or Wacky. That one came because my last name is Wakfer. Everyone mispronounces it as Wakfer. So just shortened it to Whack. That one I think happened in state actually. I think our coach was the first one to call me that, so it's kind of just stuck. So that's the main one I get. Sometimes I get Loz, Loza, all those random ones.
Yeah.
We had Oki, one girl, just calls everyone boss, so that's quite a funny one as well. Yeah, obviously sometimes I get twin and all that sort of stuff. So I haven't got one I don't like yet, touch wood. But yeah, definitely Whack's the main one that I get called. It's weird to hear Lauren called out at the club, actually. It's weird to hear someone call by my first name.
Yeah, very true. I'll go Loz from now on because of everyone I've seen, unless I've spoken to them and given them nicknames before, then I'll just stay clear and go the safe option. But yeah, I actually spoke to, speaking of a Lauren, Loz Young from obviously the Power late last year, and she said, when I called her Lauren as well, right? And it's like, no one ever calls me that.
Yeah. I think the only people that call me Lauren is my mum and my sister or my family. Like, they're the only ones that call me. My sister, even at the club, will never call me Whack or Loz. She'll always call me Lauren.
And how many times you get your last name mispronounced as I just did earlier?
Oh, honestly, it's I think Daisy still gets it wrong sometimes. And one of my coaches only just found out that it wasn't actually Wakfer. So it happens all the time. I think our announcer, when she's calling out our names at the start of the game, she wrong. So honestly, it's just I'll always tell people and I'll remind them, but sometimes I don't get it and I'll just leave it.
Yeah. Well, okay, that gives me good confidence. And if Daisy is sometimes mispronounce it, so I get a free pass for at least once. So that's good. All right. Now, did you have any role models growing up, Loz, when going into footy?
I didn't really watch a lot of girls' footy when I was younger because obviously it wasn't really a big thing for me growing up, and I never really played. For me, I watched the men a lot, and I still love watching Luke Jackson's game. I think we play a very similar role. Obviously, he's incredible. But I just love the way he goes about his game and the way he plays. I love watching Jake Waterman at the moment. He's obviously an amazing season himself. So I think growing up, probably not really. I wasn't too involved in that sense. I loved watching footy, but yeah, didn't really have any idols. But now I would definitely say those two are the two that I love watching the most, I reckon.
That's good. And this question, I'm sure, I mean, if you were to predict any questions that we're going to get asked, Loz, it's this one. Who is the better player, Loz, you or Zoe?
Oh, I'm biased. I'll always say me, no matter what. She'll probably also say her if you asked her that same question, but I'll stick with me.
Yeah, fair enough. Love the honesty. Most prized possessions that you own?
Most prized possessions. I just got a new car about 6 months ago, I reckon. So,
nice.
I'll go with that one. Prized possessions. I don't think I really got any. Maybe some of my. I love those ones, so I'll stick with those.
Very true. If you could pick a favorite holiday destination, no matter the cost, you just think of it as a free holiday. Where are you going?
Oh, we've had a few chats about this recently. I reckon I might go Greece or something like that. New Zealand would also be a really good one, but I reckon somewhere in Europe. I reckon I'd go Greece or Italy. Italy would also be stunning, I reckon.
Very nice. Some interesting choices there. What are your preferred pre-game and post-game routines, if you even have any?
I will always eat some sort of pasta dish the night before. It doesn't have to be spaghetti or anything like that. More recently, pasta. That's been my go-tos recently. I'll have a pasta the night before. And then on game day, I get my ankles taped and my physio. I have this weird thing where I have to have my socks at an even height. And so I always ask my physio. He knows now when he tapes my ankles if he can tape them also at the same height. I put my wraps it at the same height. Those are probably my main ones. And I also run out onto the field. More recently, I've been barefoot. It started because I was always late to our meetings on the field, but now I'll just grass game and stuff like that. And then post game, I just have a post game chalky milk. I think that's the only thing I really do. But I love a chalky milk, and our dietitian's always got one there ready to go for me as soon as I get off that field. So I think that's the only one I've got post game.
Very nice. What is your favourite ground that you've played on? It can be in AFLW or whether it's a state league one.
Ooh, favourite ground. I really liked Icon Park. That was a really nice ground.
Mm-hmm.
So probably biased, but I really like our ground at Mineral Resources.
Yes.
And the freo home ground, South Freo, that's my home ground initially anyway.
Oh, yes.
So I think those probably definitely have to be my top three, I reckon.
Yeah, Icon Park for AFLW, I feel like that's the best ground that you could play at. I mean, I've gone there, however many games it's been there this year, maybe around 20. I've probably been to almost all of them, as you probably know. So it's a great ground. It's great viewing, and it just, I feel, I don't know, you could answer this better than me because you're the one that's playing on it, but it feels like it's more, like it feels like a bigger stage as well as compared to some of the other grounds that are very small and, in the open type setups.
Yeah, it definitely does, especially with the stadium's kind of seating kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've watched there as well as played there. I've only played the one game, but Dewey that game as well. The night game was a bit wet, but no, I just think it's nice. It's a nice oval, good size, and yeah, obviously the seating system that they've got set up there is really good for us, I think, and we can see the crowd a bit more because it kind of goes up a few levels most of the way, which is really cool, and then you get a bit of echo under the stadium covers.
For sure. And Mineral Resources Park, I went there only once. I went there when you girls played Brisbane this season, through the Perth trip I had, and it feels all right. And I'll be real, that Hungry Jack's thing at the top, I get not that it really worried me, but I thought, oh yeah, I'll go in there thinking it's a normal. I only seen it on TV, so I never actually physically been there. I thought, this is a restaurant thing, is it? So I go there, it's like a 4-burger option booth.
Is it? I've never actually been there. I've only seen the outside.
Well, that's what I thought. I didn't think it was that either. I got full there. I was thinking there's going to be ice cream, there's going to be frozen drinks, there's going to be everything. No, it's like a booth for any random pop-up.
I've had a few down to those, and they always say that it's always chockers. It's always so full. So
yeah, it was.
The game's almost over.
Yeah, which is why I got lucky when I went there. There wasn't as many in that moment I went. But all right, enough about food. Well, actually, while I'm bringing up food, sorry, Laura. See, I told you, I knew I would do it. It was happening at some point. All right, Loz. Now, these food questions, I love asking people where I get very different answers. The lowest score anyone's ever gotten is 3. There is 6 questions. How are you with food, and how do you reckon you'll go here?
Oh, I'm not great. So this will be...
All right, so the first one it's the most important one. You're from Perth, so I feel like I know where this answer is going. You would be the first Perth person to get this question wrong because there's only one answer. Chicken palmy. Is it a palmy or is it something else?
It's definitely a palmy. Definitely a palmy.
Thank you, Loz. You're normal, so thank you. Anyone that says the opposite, I think I maybe asked 8 people that have not said that, so I haven't had to rebuttal them back with that one at least. So that's good. Good start. Pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
Yes, big yes.
Okay, I'll give that a no. So that's 1 for 2, but that's not bad. Oh, I should have addressed. It's how I would answer them to see how many you get. That's how the point system works. All right, the next one is tomato sauce, cupboard or fridge?
Cupboard.
I'll take that. 2 for 3. Good job. The lowest is 3, so you're on with a bunch of people on 3, so it's a good start. Favorite food?
Oh, I'm gonna go favorite food. Maybe a cheeseburger.
I'll take that. That's a good one, Loz. All right, 3 for 4. So good start. So you already got to the least equal lowest, so that's good. Food you don't like?
Ooh. Maybe like. Maybe pickles.
Good one. I don't like them either. That's a good one. So in other words, a cheeseburger with no pickles, yeah?
Yep.
That's the answer, Loz. I love that answer. That's 4 out of 5. Last one for the food questions. I've had an absolute blank. Oh, yeah, that's right. Favorite takeaway place / restaurant?
Oh. I'm gonna go. Oh, this is a hard one. Maybe Zambreros.
That's a good answer. Now, I mean, I probably interviewed half the Waffle W competition, and they always bring up sombreros. They always bring up GYGs and all that stuff. And I kid you not, the first probably 10 players that I'd said what was sombreros to or what is GYG and all that stuff, their jaw dropped. I'm now fully aware what it was. So, fun fact, when I did go to the game when you used to play at Brisbane, that trip I was there for the weekend, I had looked for a few if I'd walk past one. And where I was staying within under 500 meters, there literally was a sombreros. I thought, oh my God, I'm finally going to get one. And they're going to send it to all of them basically or post it. And of course, when I found it, what did it say? Coming soon. It was like literally a week after I left. I thought that is typical. So technically still haven't gone there. There is some here in Geelong and Melbourne as well. So I'll eventually get to one. I'm going to have to make a public post, I think, because this is... I think so. I don't normally do food reviews on a footy page, but I'm going to have one exception to do so for that. I mean, if I do cricket videos for myself, I can do a one-off food one. But yeah, so what is your go-to order there?
My go-to, I get nachos quite a bit from there if I was to go.
Yeah.
Or just like, I get a normal burrito, but I don't get any vegetables in it.
Okay. Not bad. 5 out of 6. See, you nailed it, Loz. There was no hesitation whatsoever. Now, there's a bunch of people that got 6, maybe 15 people. So you're close enough. 5 out of 6, good enough. Good enough for me. Absolutely. Well. Now, I'm going to jump right into a teammate quiz question. Now, how well, Loz, do you feel like you know your own teammates?
Oh, I hope well, but we'll find out.
We'll see. Now, I may be a bit biased here because haven't made these that hard. And now in saying that, you probably don't want to get any wrong. So there's 4 of them. So let's see if you know these 4 players very well. Okay. So this is probably the easiest one of the 4. All right. This player is, in my eyes, and you may answer this anyway, the best young player in the competition. That's the first clue. So how it'll work is I'll give you 2 clues, then you can guess. Then if you don't get off that clue, you get one more guess off the last clue. So best young player in the comp and jumper number 4.
Ella Roberts.
Perfect. Made that nice and easy, and I feel like I'm factually correct there. Anyway, all right, number 2. This player is a defender, and they've kicked 1 career goal.
Oh, is it Charlie Thomas?
Boom. Didn't even need to get to the next clue either. That's perfect. 2 for 2, Loz. That's the way we like it. Right. Now, this one should be easy as well. This player has kicked 12 goals in their career. They are a midfielder. That's the 2 clues for now.
Is it? Oh, midfielder. I was gonna say Hosco. Is that right?
No, it's not Hosco. Right, I'll give you the last clue. And this one might be a giveaway if you can remember something from literally a week or 2 ago. They have played 50 games in their career.
Is it Bella?
Yes, it's Bella Lewis. That's it. That's the one. 3 for 3. Good. Right, now this one's a pretty funny one. All right, so this player was drafted at pick 36. They picked 0 goals in their career.
Is it Zoe?
It is Zoe. It is indeed Zoe. Wakfer, as we've found out right now.
Correct.
There we go. Now, is there a little bit of banter between yourself and Zoe that you've kicked one and she hasn't yet, even though she's a key defender?
Before I kicked it, she'd always joke about how she's like, I'm getting 1 today. I'm kicking 4 today, guys. I'm kicking 4 today. And then I'm like, all right, I'll give it to you. Like, get in the forward line. I'll kick it to you.
That'd be good. Every defender I ask, I mean, I always try and see if they can find a way to sneak through to about 70 meters out and get the one out the side where they do the 1-2 handball, or someone gives away a 50 where they approach the mark and get a bright smile and get it from the goal square.
Yeah. You never know what can happen.
That's right. Now, about defenders, I feel like they deserve more love than what they get, Loz. Obviously, the midfield's got the Brownlow. Well, that's what they really do. And then the forwards got the Coleman. And the rucks get recognised a little bit in Brownlow votes these days. Do you feel like the defenders, Loz, deserve their own official title of an award at the AFLW level as well?
I think it would be a really good idea. I mean, we've already got one for every other line, it feels like, so why not?
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely it does, and that'd be good to see. Now, mark or goal of the year, Loz, which one would you rather do and why?
Oh, this is a tricky one. I think I would rather mark of the year.
I mean, you can't go wrong either way, can you?
Yeah, either way, I'm pretty wrapped about it.
Mm.
But I think mark of the year, especially in our game, there obviously are more marks than goals in games. So I think if I got a mark, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty sick.
Or do the double, get the mark of the year in the forward line, and then the marks on the boundary, and then your goals from the boundary.
Easy peasy, just one and done.
Absolutely, that'd be pretty cool. Now, you talked about celebrations earlier, Loz. What is your go-to goal celebration that you've got in the pipeline or that you've pulled out before?
I am the worst person at goal celebrations. I remember at South Freo, I kicked a couple, and I think all I did was kind of just like clap and then reset. So definitely got some work to do on it. I know the one I kicked at Eagles, I kind of just pumped the fist like this and ran around. So definitely got a lot of work to do on my celebrations, I think.
That's all right. You've got plenty of time to do so. Now, this is a question I always find interesting to see which way players go. Sometimes people go with players they know. Sometimes they go for the best. If you could, and this is as unrealistic loss as you want, if you could steal one player, or I'll give you two if you want, from another club, who would you want to poach to the Eagles and why?
Oh, one player. I'm going to go... Oh.
Anyone. It could be as unrealistic.
Unreal. All right. I'm going to go... Let's go Jazz Garner just because a gun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to go with maybe Kate Hall. I enjoy watching her. She's a really good forward, so why not?
That's a very good answer. Kate Hall is probably one of the best forwards, even though she played midfield this year in the comp.
Yeah.
And every time I ask this, it's always like, it's a Jazz, it's a Mon, it's someone's friend. It's good to see someone else that's at the top that's getting mentioned here.
Yeah, that's it.
Or some go the best young player. So Ella, Zali Goldsworthy's another one that we haven't mentioned. They're so good as well. Some very good ones. Cheat meal. Have you got it? Going back to food for a second. Have you got a cheat meal that you like?
Oh, cheat meal. I think my go-to would be like a double cheeseburger meal from Macca's.
Nice. Good. Always stick with the Maccas. I love it. Okay. So, a day or night person?
Night person.
Nice. Same. No one likes getting up at 7 a.m. like some people do. Well, I don't anyway. That's boring. Celebrity crush?
Timothy Chalamet.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but fair enough. All right. So now, obviously, Loz, you mentioned about, the rehab and, the ACL just before you were drafted. What's the best advice you were given throughout that time from, the physio, the coaching staff, family, everyone, etc.? And how did you get through that stage?
I think the main thing that kind of kept me going was knowing that I had time on my side. And for me, because I did my ACL, we got drafted that year where it was the double season. So I got drafted just before the double to that season, I guess. So for me, I had almost I debuted 14 months after I got drafted, I think. So everyone says it's a 12-month injury and then you come back after 12 months. But for me, I had a little time knowing that I wasn't playing that season and I didn't need to rush back into anything. And I think the other one was probably just doing the little things really well sets you up for bigger things. I think at the start of it, definitely didn't take that piece of advice as well as I should have. But looking back and obviously through some other injuries and stuff, I think, really nailing those little things really sets you up for a lot of the bigger things.
Sure. And can't forget too that, you mentioned about how long it was from, being drafted to your debut. So did that make it even sweeter for you? And how was the debut too? And how were you in that few days beforehand?
It was definitely a lot sweeter. I was lucky enough to be able to play in the practice matches. So those were my first games really at AFLW level, which was scary for me. I was terrified. I think I put more pressure on myself than I realized because I was like, well, great, now I have to perform really well. But obviously that wasn't necessarily the case. I was coming back from injury, so just had to play how I could. And my debut game was actually against Freo, and I was a Freo supporter. So that was funny for me. And then obviously debuting at South Rio's home ground, which was my home ground the same year, basically. So just a full circle moment, I think, for me, really.
Yes. it was just meant to be, wasn't it? With Freo, South Freo, he couldn't have asked for a better script. But was it interesting though? Even at the point of being drafted by West Coast, being a Freo fan, and that rivalry is always so interesting in the men's and women's.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, for me, especially now that I'm locked into West Coast, like that rivalry really like seeps into our women's program, which I think is really good. I
Yes.
think we need that little spark, and obviously we've got girls that have come over from Freo, and we've given some girls. So I think that makes it better for us. But no, we love it, and we look forward to that round every year.
So how was that derby? I think it was 2 or 3 rounds ago. Obviously with Aisling McCarthy obviously jumping over to Freo, and you got Roxy over from Freo. So how was it that day in terms of like the rivalry side of things?
I think it was a really good game actually. Obviously thriving at Freo at the moment, and she's playing so incredible herself. So she was definitely one for us to look out for. And then obviously Roxy's a very strong forward, very strong competitor. So we definitely tried to use her to our strengths that day. Obviously we didn't really get into it too much, which is pretty good. It was more let's let the football talky. Obviously I lost, but just in terms of football and the way we want to play, I think we played well, and Freo obviously played well as well. But great atmosphere. We had a really good crowd there. We played at Leederville Oval, just in terms of space, which turned out to be really good. It was such a loud, electric atmosphere. I reckon one of my favourite games that I've played in.
That's good, and then that's the atmosphere that you mentioned that you would love as well. Now, going back to the Mark and Goal of the Year that we talked about, would you be one, Loz, to post it if you were to get a Mark or Goal of the Year contender?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tricky one. Maybe it's like my close friends.
I'd be all over that, Loz. To be honest, if I'm being brutally honest, I mean, if you're pulling a Mark of the Year contender, I mean, I'd be one to just go ahead and post it. Now, in terms of teammates, obviously everyone that has their gym photos and everything like that. Who would be the person that would be posting about themselves and trying to, do one up everyone in the gym and get PBs and show off?
I reckon for us, Verity Simmons was incredible to watch in the gym. Just the way she went about it. She obviously came from a netball background. So watching her in the gym is just crazy. Like, she is so strong. And the things that she can do with her body and the weights that she can lift is incredible to watch. So for me, it's definitely Vez.
Very good. Now, this is not the first time we've met. We've met before at one of the games, which you recall down at Frankston, as you mentioned.
Yep, the Hawthorn game, yep.
The Hawthorn game. Now, I feel like that was coincidentally your best game of your season. How did you feel you went? Obviously, it was a tough game for the team, but how did you feel you went?
Yeah, got chucked into the ruck for that game as well as forward, which was really cool. We didn't get a lot of it in our forward half, unfortunately, but I think I pride myself on following up the footy, especially when I'm in the ruck. So I know that I'm undersized normally. I'm normally smaller than the other ruck by sometimes quite a bit. So I just try to act more as a fourth midfielder, if anything, and just follow up really strong with tackles and trying to get our footy out clean to our teammates. But as hard as a game that was, we learnt a lot from that game, and we had a game plan going in that unfortunately didn't work out for us. But we learnt a lot from that footage back, and then really knuckled in for the rest of the season, I think, after that game.
No, that's right. That's for sure. And finished better after that. Now, what would you say is the funniest teammate story that you would be open to sharing? Is there anything that's pretty funny that you would deem funny?
Oh, we have a lot of for me, it's Abigail Bushby again, has a lot of videos of her falling over in games, at training, anything like that. And she also is very easy to scare. So I remember one time we were in the change room, she's putting her jewelry back in, and we were videoing. She was trying to scare Evie Gooch. She was trying to scare her when she came around the corner. Didn't get the scare. And Gucci turned around and came back at her, and Bushy's turned around and kind of got scared from Gucci coming back. So, yeah, definitely one of those stories. She's very easy to scare, and she's very clever.
Very nice. That's good. So, Abby's got a few mentions today. I'm sure she'll love that. All right. So in terms of, this is a very interesting one. I feel like this question can kind of go either way. In terms, let's see how we go. I've actually just lost what I was going to say. Could you, Polly, ever find yourself not playing for your sister? Have you always played together? And has there been a time where you haven't matched up in the same team or club?
There was only 1 year, and it was my first year at South Freo, because I decided she ended up playing at Warnborough for an extra year. And South Freo were kind of like, I think for state were telling me to find a waffle team to go play for. And my granddad is big South Freo member, all that stuff. So I went down there for like just a trial day, and they straight in the league team that day. So trained with all the girls. I think I was 15 or 16 at the time. And yeah, that was my first season at South Freo, and I think the first and only season I haven't played footy with my son.
That's good. How do you keep feeling positive and motivated during a loss? So I feel like that's something very important, because a lot of people go instantly feel flat and sometimes upset depending on how the results finished. How do you try and motivate yourselves through a loss? Obviously, a win's fantastic. Everyone's up and about and everything like that. But for a loss, how do you try and get past that and move on?
Yeah, so Daisy always gives us like a 12-hour rule where, or depending on how late our next game is, 12 or 24-hour rule where we can sit in it, be sorry for ourselves, whatever we want to do. But as soon as that comes up, we're focused on the next game, really knuckling in on what we can do better than the game we just played. And I think for us, we're really good at giving each other feedback in a really constructive way. And we're also really good at looking at what went wrong and how to fix what went wrong rather than just moving on, which I think is really important because we want to learn from the games that we didn't necessarily play our best in. But also in those games, there's always some highlights of how we want to move the footy or how we want to play our brand. So we just really focus on how we want to play and then how we can fix those mistakes coming off the next game and really fire it at the next team that we come up against.
That's right, for sure. What is the most favorite app or most used app on your phone?
Mine is probably Snapchat or Instagram, to be honest. I try not on it too much, but when I do, I think I find myself on those two the most.
That's very true. Who is the most famous person that follows you back on any platform?
Oh, probably Daisy Pearce. Probably Daisy.
That's a good answer there. All right, so I got a few more for you, Lots. I do really appreciate you coming on, giving your time on a day off. All right, so if you could have any superpowers, what would those superpowers be?
Oh, I think mine would be invisibility, just because I feel like everyone says like teleporting or something, but for me, I think invisibility because I could jump on an airplane and go wherever I want for free because no one will see me get on it. I could rob banks. I could pull pranks. I could do anything I want when I'm invisible.
You could. So That's right. That's right. Just like John Cena, right? You can't see him.
Exactly.
Be like John Cena. Any other sports that you like outside of footy? Am I correct in saying cricket's one of them?
Oh, I haven't watched a lot of cricket. My dad's a big cricket fan. I do love going to the game. So I just went to the Women's Big Bash the other day, watching the Perth score. That was a really good game. But for me, I love playing netball. So before I got drafted, I was playing Wonnell down at the Peel Lightning. And what other ones do I like watching? I think footy's just the one that I watch the most and keep up with the most, but probably a biased answer because obviously I play footy. And watching a little bit of basketball from time to time. I've got a few mates that play as well, so go and watch them down at their games and stuff like that. So I reckon those are my top.
That's good. What would a week to week look like for you, Loz, during footy and maybe outside of footy? Or outside of footy season? Yeah.
Footy is very busy. We're lucky enough that we get a full day at footy. So we train 4 times a week. We'd go Monday, what do we do? Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then play on the weekend.
Yep.
And we just changed that to the Tuesday, I think it was. So we're really lucky that our Wednesday is a morning training. So we normally get about 8:30ish, which is a bit tricky because Zoe and I live about an hour away from the club. So we always get in the morning, but we start with we just do a little bit of skills in the morning before everyone got ready for their prep. And then we would go out and train for a good couple of hours. And then we were really lucky that we got to sit in and have lunch with each other. And then we got to do all our education and stuff after lunch. So footy and skill focused in the morning. And then after lunch, we'd have like our sports psychs come in. We'd do our leadership meetings. We'd sometimes like trainings and stuff like that. We'd go through trainings or set plays and things like that. So we were at our Wednesdays full of footy. And then our rest of our trainings would normally be in the afternoon for us. Outside, I do work in the community side at Eagles. So I do some stuff like that, not necessarily set days. So help run some clinics and I'll help run some education and things like that. And then, that's pretty much about it.
Very nice. If your teammates were to describe you, Loz, in a word or a sentence, what would that be?
Oh, I'd hope it would be funny. No. That's a tricky one. I'd hope funny would be in there. I'd hope. I'm very spontaneous. I think that would be a big one. And I think, hopefully generous and caring. We'll go with those ones.
Some very good ones, and just off this interaction, definitely some of them as well. Now, if a teammate, Loz, was to be on a TV show, who would that be, or group of people be, and what show would it be? Any of those drama shows, comedy shows?
I might do like Hosco on Survivor or something. I reckon that would, and then I reckon like maybe I'd put Bushy on The Bachelor just for the plot. I reckon that'd be funny.
Yeah, I mean, those shows. Do you feel like those shows are or staged and highly scripted? Those dating shows.
Something will happen, and then they're like, "Yeah, let's go with that. Let's roll with that one."
Yeah,
we'll one up.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting one on those shows. That's for sure. All right, so the last two. So I appreciate you coming on. So if you were to heights, are you scared of heights? That's one thing I feel like I sometimes have a problem of, depending on how high you are at some spots.
I'm actually not scared of heights, but my sister is. My biggest fear is like I've diagnosed myself with something called thalassophobia, which is like fear of big bodies of water.
Yeah.
And I love going to the beach. I love going to the ocean. But as soon as I'm like at my waist, I'm terrified. And as soon as I'm not touching the floor, I will literally like swim all the way in until I'm like beached on the shore. So that's my biggest fear, I think.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Now, this is a 3-part question, Loz, so appreciate you coming on. Bold call for the upcoming season for the Eagles. Your grand final tip, your Brownlow tip, or league best and fairest tip, and also, sorry, a 4-part question as well. Yeah, actually, we'll go with them first. Go with those, sorry.
All right, my bold prediction for Eagles, I reckon we'll go finals. We're going to make finals next year.
I like that.
The league BNF, I'm going to say Smokey, and I'm going to go with Ella Roberts because why not?
Yeah, why not? She always won mine.
Yeah,
second.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah.
The other two already.
Yeah. Grand final tip.
Grand final tip. I would love to see Hawks take it out. I reckon. I think that would be a very fun game to watch. And I think obviously they've never won it before, and they're still one of the expansion side. So I reckon go Hawks. Let's have a bit of fun.
That's right. And now I remember the last one. If you can name 3 famous people, Loz, dead or alive, to go to dinner with, who would those people be?
Ooh, dead or alive. I'm gonna go Timothy Chalamet because celebrity crush.
Yep. Mentioned before, yep.
I'm gonna go Obama.
Oh yeah. Interesting, yep.
And I'm gonna go maybe like a LeBron James or something.
Not bad. Loz, it's been a pleasure. Some good options there. It's been a pleasure having you on, Loz. All the best for your off season, And let's see how some of the girls go at the Brownlow vote count on whenever that's on in a few weeks' time or so. And hopefully they poll well. Obviously, hope Charlie and Ella get those All-Australian honours that they definitely deserve. And really appreciate you coming on.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. You too.